see my face.
All right, guys, we should be able to get going here. Let's go to Will Kunkel for the first question.
Hey, Sam, what's going on, buddy? NFLPA and NFL just came out with new restrictions between vaccinated, fully vaccinated, and not fully unvaccinated. For instance, you got to wear a mask at all times. Travel restrictions are in place. You're not allowed to go out to eat when on the road, not allowed in the sauna, a bunch of things like that.
Right.
If you're still not vaccinated, which I don't know if that's changed or not, what are your feelings on being treated differently and just kind of what they've agreed to?
Yeah, obviously they agreed to those terms for a reason. A lot of smart people came up with, kind of those restrictions, and obviously they're there for a reason. So, but in terms of my decision to get vaccinated, I'm just going to keep that, to myself. For me, it's a personal decision that I'm going to make between me and, close people around me. So, just going to keep it, within me and my tight circle. But again, those decisions are being made by very smart people and people that, know what they're doing, obviously. So.
And then just to follow up on that, what are the conversations like in the locker room with something so different and unique to talk about when you get restrictions and mandates from the league allowing you to do certain things or not? What's that like?
Yeah, I mean, it's not just our locker room. It's really happening all over the world, no matter what or who you work for. There's a lot of, people pushing to, get the vaccine, and for good reason. People are, when they get it, they're allowed to go to work, and so it's kind of the same thing that's happening here, with the NFL. So I think just a lot of guys, including myself, we have decisions to make with that. But again, I think it's everyone's decision to make, and for me, I'm gonna continue to keep that personal.
All right, let's go to Steve Reed for the next question.
Hey, Sam, I did want to follow up on one thing about the COVID thing. Is there any concern as a player, as a key member of the team, quarterback, obviously, that, hey, you're having a great season. Maybe you guys are headed to the playoffs, and then all of a sudden something happens where, you catch COVID and you have to, sit out. I mean, does that weigh into your decision making at all? And in terms of, possibly letting guys down on your team or, the entire team?
Yeah, absolutely. You're definitely, for me personally, I'm weighing those decisions every day, and it definitely plays a huge part in it.
Let's go to David Newton for the next question, followed by Will Palachik. David, you need to unmute yourself.
Sorry about that, Sam. Had to unmute myself. Wanted to follow up a little bit. So, to be clear, you still haven't gotten your shot.
I'm just going to keep that personal.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, and can I get an update on your couch? And then one more thing.
Yep. I mean, still haven't gotten that second half of the couch, but it's fine though. I'm just by myself right now, just hanging. So it works for me. And but I think within the next week or so, especially while I'm gone, I'm going to be pushing those guys. And
you mentioned last week when I asked you, you said Charlotte feels more like where you grew up than maybe New York and other places, even LA. Can you share some of what you feel maybe free to do around Charlotte, that you felt free to do around home, that you maybe didn't want to do or feel free to do in other places?
Yeah, I don't know. It's just, it's a little different. I mean, New York is a very big city, and also the surrounding areas. I feel like everywhere is different though. You know what I mean? Like LA, it's similar to New York, being a big city and all, but it's very different in other ways as well. So, I mean, you see similarities and differences everywhere you go. So, I mean, Charlotte's a great town, and, I love the people here.
So would you go to the grocery store in New York, or wouldn't go there? We'll go here. Any little nuances like that you can share?
Yeah, I mean, I was pretty much free to do whatever I want. I'm obviously until COVID hit, but I would get recognized every so often. I mean, it's in terms of that, it's kind of the same everywhere. But yeah, I mean, it's the same, from in terms of that, being in Jersey, being in LA, being in my hometown, now being in Charlotte. If I go to the grocery store, some people recognize me, some people don't. I feel like that's kind of the same everywhere I go.
Thanks. Appreciate it.
Yep.
David, we'll go ahead, Will.
Sam, more on the field, looking at obviously what they've thrown you. Matt said that they've thrown a lot at the entire quarterback room. How do you feel about just the influx of information that you've had come to you since you've taken the field for the first time here in OTAs and minicamp?
It's great. I love it. I think it's obviously it's better than, sitting at home. I think in terms of last year, just doing virtual meetings and, doing it that way, I think it's a lot better in terms of me, getting in a new system, having a new team, being able to be in the locker room and go to practice. It's good to have those moments. And, with the new system, being able to work out the kinks right now rather than in training camp and even in preseason games, I think is huge.
Would you say your biggest growth point is more scheme related, or is it even just mechanical stuff they have you working on?
Yeah, I think mostly scheme, just really working on, getting I think it all kind of goes hand in hand too. Because once you know the system, once you're very familiar with the scheme, the fundamentals kind of follow in place and you get more and more confident and more comfortable in the system.
Thank you.
Let's go to Nick Carboni next, followed by Joe Person.
Sam, how different is Joe's offense than what you've run in the past? And over the next month, now that you're through minicamp and you have a month until training camp, what are the biggest things you're trying to focus on in terms of that system and grasping by camp?
Yeah, there's similarities and differences in terms of what I ran in the past. I think, my rookie year, we had a lot of things that were kind of similar to this system because we were kind of running the same type of system with more of a West Coast feel. So we took actually a lot of terminology from my rookie year and, I'm seeing it pop up every now and then right now. So I think there are some similarities from my rookie year and even the last couple of years as well. And so, yeah, I think with that being said, I'm really just, continuing to work on the terminology, working on the formation, shifts, motions, different plays, certain situations like what we're doing in 2 minute, how we're going to call things in the red zone. So just everything. I'm really trying to learn everything, but continue to work on it step by step and just work on it that way.
Hey, Sam, I have two. The first one's kind of a follow-up to the one you just answered, but Robbie said yesterday that this offense in his mind is a little more graspable than what you guys were in New York. Would you agree with that? And were those complexities kind of tough for you as a first-year quarterback up there?
Was he referring to my rookie year or the last couple of years?
He did not specify. He meant, I assume he was talking generally.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, well, my rookie year, I was learning it. And I think as a whole, I think it's going from a college system, going into an NFL system. I think I was definitely very focused on just kind of, grasping everything. And it was definitely a lot harder, I think, as a rookie, and now learning terminology. And again, like I said, from my rookie year, to now, I feel like I've really understood, NFL offenses more and more. And so I think having that knowledge, it was definitely easier to kind of go into it this year. But again, it's learning a new system. It's always challenging. There's always going to be ups and downs. But it definitely, having experienced an NFL system before for the, last 3 years, that makes it easier to understand for me.
And then a lot of tip passes the last 2 days.
Yeah.
Were they a product of, and is that something you got to get cleaned up?
Yeah, I mean, we just got to look at it. I think the D line's doing a good job of getting their hands up. I think as a quarterback, you just got to, try to find the windows to throw in and maybe slide, change your arm angle a little bit. But again, it's, I think on the tip balls, we were right on where we were going with the football. I think, like I said, the D-line just did a really good job of getting their hands up. I think if there's one coaching point, it would be maybe sliding and trying to find a window. But again, I think, the D-line who did the guys who have been batting it down, they've been doing a really good job of, getting their hands up at the right time, right when me, Will, and PJ go to throw the ball.
All right, thanks, Joe. Let's go to Elena Getzenberg, followed by Darren Gant.
Hey, Sam. I was curious, obviously, kind of as you mentioned, you've had to learn a couple offenses early in your NFL career here, but and obviously I know there's similarities, but what's kind of your process for learning a new offense? Like, what does that entail for you?
Yeah, that's a good question. I think, first and foremost, you got to grasp the formations. And then it's, for me, it's protections, really understanding protections and kind of the run game as well with that. And then, it's step by step with the concepts, and I think once you understand, the concepts and kind of how they go together, you can better understand the formations. But it's just, again, it's you got to keep grinding it out. And I think during the off days when you're not necessarily learning a new package, whether it's third down or 2 minute, you got to continue to go over formations and the little details, because as you're learning the bigger picture with concepts and different situations, you tend to lose focus on the little details of certain formations, motions, or shifts. And so I think it's just continuing to go over it, as you continue to get further and further in the process of learning the playbook.
And then I was curious for you, I know obviously you're very comfortable working with Robbie and he's someone you've been around a lot, but like having him out there, does it feel like more familiar than the other guys you're working with? Like like a difference, like you know what to expect from him more?
I think on certain routes, you kind of naturally, for me, I naturally have a feel for him. I mean, obviously I didn't work with him last year at all, but yeah, I mean, yesterday, that first day out here with him, it was awesome, just to be able to get in that flow, get in that rhythm again. And, but again, like I said, I feel like I've had really good flow and rhythm with the other guys as well. So, we're just going to continue to build on that as we go.
Last one, I swear. I was just curious. Sorry, Darren. I was just curious what you're planning to do, with your time away, go back to California. Is there anything specific you're looking forward to or anything like that?
Yeah, I mean, just going home, working out, training. Like I just mentioned, I mean, going over the playbook, keeping the screws tight on that. And then, yeah, just making sure I throw, keep my arm fresh.
Thanks, Lena. Darren, before you ask, guys, we're getting close on time, so let's go to Darren now, and then Jonathan, you can ask the final question.
All right, Sam, Robbie mentioned yesterday he could tell a difference in your aura. How would you describe your aura?
Awesome. Yeah. I don't know. You'll have to probably go back to Robbie on that one.
Is it safe to say you feel a little more relaxed, a little more comfortable here than you may have previously?
No, I think, the guys in the locker room are awesome. The coaches are great. So, I mean, it feels great here. It feels like home here in Charlotte. Like I mentioned to you guys, there's just something about this place that is very positive. So, again, I like it here, and I'm going to, continue to feel at home, I guess.
Hey, Sam, hope you're doing well. I'm curious, what is probably the biggest thing that you felt like you need to get better at last year that you're really working on this offseason, or that you've improved on, you think that you've improved on this offseason?
Yeah, I think just consistency. I think that's the biggest thing with me. I think last year and the years prior, there were splash plays and things that I did well, even splash games throughout the season, but really working on being a consistent football player. I think that's the biggest thing for me. And with that, I think, because I think sometimes it can be tough, to simulate that in the off season. I think the biggest thing with that is just to come out here every day, be the same person, and, have consistent energy, throughout practice, throughout the day in meetings. And, if I can stay consistent, off the field as well. You know, that helps with transitioning that to on the field during the season.
All right, guys. Sam, we really appreciate the time.
Yep. Appreciate you guys.